Guys, Father's Day is coming up. And if you're looking for the perfect gift to give your dad, look no further. Help him step up his pocket game. The Ridge wallet, guys, it's light, it's sleek, it's industrial. And by the way, it doesn't fold and awkwardly bulge out of your back pocket. It goes into your front pocket. Ridge wallets hold up to 12 cards, plus all the cash that you need. You can choose from over 30 colors and styles. That includes carbon fiber and burnt titanium. It is the best wallet you can buy. You don't just have to take my word for it. There's over 40,000 five-star reviews. And I'll admit, I was skeptical at first. But once I tried it, I never went back to my old wallet. I'm sure you're going to love it, but guys, there's no pressure. Test it out for 45 days. If you don't love it, and I mean love it, send it back, you'll get a full refund. If you decide to keep it, and I believe you will, there's a lifetime warranty, so there's nothing to lose. Just go to ridge.com/Chael or click on the link in the description below. That's going to get you a special 15% savings for Father's Day. That comes with free worldwide shipping and returns. I just hung up with Brendan. I had a wonderful morning. Spent 2 hours with Brendan Schaub, who I love catching up with. I hate it when it's over. It felt like 20 minutes. Turns out it's 2 hours. Go check that out over on Brendan's page. But, man, we touched on everything. And I really like to get Brendan's perspective on the heavyweights because he was one. And I like to get his perspective on boxing because he knows more and follows boxing closer than any MMA competitor that I personally know. And I know some pretty big boxing fans. I mean, he used to work at Showtime. You understand these things. See, Brendan. So, right, when you're talking about the heavyweights right now, of course, Francis is going to come up. Of course, his new deal with the PFL. And above everything, the fact that his PFL does not even kick in until 2024, and we don't know when. We don't know what month of 2024. We just know, hey, don't bother him this year. He's trying to do some boxing. He's focusing on boxing. Doesn't have a fight, doesn't have a contract. But that's what he's in the gym preparing for because he thinks he's going to get one. Okay, good enough. But I wanted to know from Brendan, what are you hearing? Who's out there? And I said, Brendan, where would the money be at in boxing? Like, for example, I get a text today from a buddy in Canada named Joseph. Joseph tells me that Spence and Crawford, right? Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford have agreed to box. And the night that they've agreed to box is the same night as a UFC pay-per-view. And he asks me, will the UFC change their date? Are they going to pull out of the competition that night because of this massive boxing fight? And I'm going, nobody cares about Spence and Crawford, but that's what I'm thinking, right? I don't need to hear from you where you got a bag on me. Who the hell's talking about Spence and Crawford? Talk about these guys that finally agreed to fight. Who was asking them to fight? I mean, like, that's the fight to do. That's a good fight. These are two tough guys. To the point that the UFC is going to back down? The UFC's gone head-to-head with Fury. They've gone head-to-head with Klitschko. I'm just suggesting for you, or rather, I'm admitting for you, that I don't fully have my thumb on top of boxing. I don't. I wish I did. It's my second favorite sport. I wish that I did. So I go to Brendan. So who's out there for Francis? We've heard some of the numbers thrown at him, right? We now know for sure Francis is a multimillionaire. He got a $2 million signing bonus from the PFL. Do you guys know how that works, by the way? You sign, they send the wire. It takes about 24 hours for a wire to come. You sign, they send the wire. Within 24 hours, you open your bank account, you're a millionaire. I took a college kid to lunch at Applebee's. It was right across from the old Team Quest gym I used to train at. He came in to watch a training session. I just took him across the street to Applebee's. $12 meal. I covered the meal. He thanked me so much. Oh, he didn't know what he was going to eat that day. He was so grateful. And he's telling me how he just signed. I don't even know what this means. This is a young kid. Like, I'm picking up the bill either way. I'm 40 years old. This guy's 21. Like, that's the way it goes, right? If you're 21, you come out with me. You're not reaching for a check. The next morning, he had $2.2 million. He was thanking me and said, I want to take you to lunch. 2.8 million signed with the Kansas City Chiefs. Cool story. But we now know this about Francis. We've wondered, can he sit? We wondered, how does he sit? We've never heard of a wife. We've never heard of kids. We don't know of a drug problem or a gambling debt. I mean, he's one of these guys where his finances do matter. He was able to say no to $8 million versus Jon Jones. So able to say no to that. He was able to work for an entire year or go an entire year without work. Now he's doing another year, unless he gets this boxing match, without work. But we now know his bank account's okay. He's got $2 million in it. We know that. Plus whatever else he has, he's got $2 million from the PFL on the last 7 days. So when we're trying to guess what his moves are, we've also got to guess and understand what his situation is. It sounds like he's flush right now. So who is out there that is worth waiting for? What opportunity possibly exists? And I'm very curious with Francis, guys. I don't like it. And I'm not a prude on taking risks. I bought Bitcoin before you guys knew what a Bitcoin was, and I'm not trying to be a jerk. I bought Tesla back when you guys were laughing at Elon Musk and thought he was a PayPal guy. So I'm not against risks. I don't like that one. I don't like a guy that's at least 36 years old. He doesn't look a day under 53, but they're saying he's 36 years old, and then he's got a knee injury, right? Your only commodity is your performance. Your performance is coming from your body, and that body is broken. That body needs surgery. And now we're going to take that body into a sport that we've never done before. And then we're going to bounce back to a sport that it appears we don't want to do anymore. It's not my kind of bet. It's just not. I would have taken the $8 million. Now, it's a little different. I understand cryptocurrencies. I understand investing. I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just $8 million can go a long way if you know what to do with it. If you don't and you're just stacking bricks, it's a situation you got to look at a little more careful. And I asked Brendan about this. Brendan said, Chael, he's out of his mind. And Brendan really liked him. Brendan said, man, I really enjoy Francis. I know him personally. He's just such a nice guy. He said, but from the business side of this, there's nothing there for the UFC to get. He had one match against Jon, and it's the same problem they got with Jon. Jon and Sergey isn't going to draw. So it's the same thing with Francis. Francis versus Jon works. Francis versus whoever is next, it doesn't work. I understand that. And more specifically on boxing, okay? He told me that Fury's not going to happen. Fury was never going to happen. The way Fury looked at that is he was doing Francis a favor. He was being helpful. He was getting his name out there. He was getting Francis's name. Fury never meant to make a promise and or a commitment. He was out there doing media. He was hyping and he was serving Francis as he did it. That's how Fury looks at it. That sounds right to me. It does appear that Fury didn't give his word or make a bond or even shake hands. Said, I'm willing to do something. Let's come up with some rules and get some guys together that want to hire us and do it. Okay. You then had some Deontay Wilder news, right? Deontay Wilder, you realize that he's in trouble, right? Deontay had a gun. Do you guys know about that? That was because of me. Did you guys read this on TMZ? I call out Deontay Wilder, which I didn't want to fight Deontay Wilder. I called out something. I didn't call him out. He thought I did. He went and started packing a gun because he's worried with me. He gets pulled over somewhere and doesn't have a permit for the gun. Right? He's in some kind of heat. Did you read this on TMZ, though? I mean, I got to tell you, I was pretty flattered. I don't really want him in heat. He seems like a good guy that was trying to protect himself, but he had to go get a boner to protect himself because I might come up and smack him around a little bit. It's weird, in my opinion. But that guy is going to go in there with Francis Ngannou? I don't think so. That doesn't sound right. So, and that's also what Brendan said. He said, no, Wilder looks like he's going to be fighting Joshua. Joshua dismissed Francis, laughed at it, and actually called it a clown show. He said, no, I'm not going to go do that clown show. Let the circus do that. So it looks like he removed himself. Now, guys can say stuff and change their mind, right? Everybody's got a right to play their hand however they want. And sometimes saying no is because you really want it. I understand all of those things. But Brendan laid the table for where we're at right now. And the reason I keep poking my nose in Francis's business, the reason I can't stop doing it. But I don't know what's going to happen. I'm curious. I guess that would put me in the category of fan. I want to see what's next. I want to see how this whole thing unfolds and envelops. If you've seen so much as a boxing movie, anytime between now and 1975, you would fully understand there's not a boxing promoter in the world that's going to bring somebody in on a one-off. Now, we all know that about MMA. Dana White will sign nobody to a one-off. James Toney, which came in one night only, wasn't signed to a one-off. CM Punk was not signed to a one-off. I realize he had more. I'm sharing with you. That's not how you do it. No promoter would do that. If you come in and you win, I gotta have you. I have to have you back. I have to have you tomorrow still in the organization so that I can punish you and discipline you and strip you. But I gotta have the power over you, or I can't even do that. You're not gonna get up and walk out. I will kick your ass out. But I gotta have you under contract to do that. And that's all that I'm sharing is Francis, at least 36 years old, coming off of an injury on the only commodity he has, which is his body. Nobody. I mean, Al Heyman, you go back to Guzman, I don't know how much he's doing. You go to Don King, which I think he's thrown out of the business. You go to crusty old Bob Arum. You go to the very handsome Eddie Hearn. I'll tell you what, they're not letting you do a one-off because every promoter asks himself the same question. What if? What if he wins? What if he gets the upset? What if Lesnar goes over? What if? That's the question. Every promoter will ask himself that. And if you bring in Francis to beat up a meaningful guy and he succeeds, he lands that punch. Turns out he's good at boxing, whatever the case could be. What if that happens? Well, then I get him again. And Francis would be of the same mind. He wants to box so badly, not because he likes getting punched or likes punching people. He thinks that's where the money's at. But he wants to do that so badly, of course he would be willing to sign a multi-fight opportunity to do that, but that isn't the situation he's in. He's going to go do a boxing match. He then has to leave boxing and go and do MMA. Do you guys see the irony here? Francis sat out and held out to get a contract that allows him to box, but that contract is the only thing stopping him from being able to box. You guys understanding this? I know I operate on a different wavelength. I try to bring myself down. I really do. I try to bring it down so that everybody can understand what I'm saying here. Francis wanted to box, so he got that put in his contract. The contract that is allowing him to box is what is stopping every boxing promoter from signing him. Is this on? Can you hear me? Is this thing on?